Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace be upon all of you. Welcome back to the second part of the video on how to face racism or division in your company. So here I have some other points as opposed to the optimistic approach we took in the first part of this video. Let's have a look. So the first point I want to share with you here is that we looked at what to do if the person you're dealing with is logical and if it is someone who can carry a decent conversation. But if the person that you're dealing with is illogical and seemingly vengefully driven because of their racist tendencies, one thing I would advise, and this is from personal experience, is that you must stay away from them as much as possible. That is the best thing you must avoid, as long as they're not imposing on you, they're not creating direct conflict with you. Try to stay away from trouble, try to stay away from them as much as possible, and leave the matter, leave it, let it go, let it be, where possible, as long as apparent oppression does not manifest. And what I mean by apparent oppression is that if this individual, if this behavior is directly affecting you, as long as that doesn't happen, try to leave the matter. Be patient. The opportunity will present itself as time goes by. Be very observant, understand things, what is going on, try to empathize as well, because we must always try to be kind and compassionate towards people who are racist. Because most of the cases of racist tendencies, from my own experience, is that it is not their fault. It is either the way they grew up, the environment, the background they had, the primary and early education they had. They might have been to schools which haven't really had a lot of exposure towards other religions, other ethnicities, other communities. So we can't really blame anyone. We are the product of our environment, we are the product of those who we associate. So we must always try to be compassionate. In that aspect, try to be patient, try to always leave the matter be, as long as there is no apparent oppression. I like to call it maintain a double arm's length, not one arm's length, but a double arm's length. Stay away from them. Now, however, if this racist behavior, if this racist treatment is causing you mental pressure and directly affecting your personal well-being, the one thing in the corporate sector that you can consider doing is you can go and you can reach out to HR, the human resources team. If possible, I like to say, after a couple of incidents of my own experience, if possible, try to gather evidence, try to have evidence. It could be maybe an email, it could be a conversation, where there were other parties involved who are able to attest to what happened there. It could be something that a reward or a recognition that you lost, but with evidence, where merit-based performance was neglected, and something that you worked really hard and something that is quite apparent. So try to have evidence as much as possible, because if not, getting things done in a company is quite difficult, and many companies, even many HR professionals, might frown upon this advice. However, I'm also someone who believes that you must be able to rise up to the occasion. You must be able to stand up for your own rights. If at the very least you can't do that, if at the very least you can't reach out to your HR and even have a conversation about the problems that you're facing, then what kind of company is that company? Is that company really worth working for? So you can consider that. Now, on a severe case, an extremely bad case where your immediate supervisor is heavily racist, someone who is directly affecting your mentality, your performance is getting affected, your personal well-being is affected, your demeanor at your house, toward your family, toward your friends is being affected, you're going through so much pressure, your education is affected, you don't know what to do, your future is affected. Because when you're going through something as bad as that, your mind doesn't work properly, your brain doesn't process properly, your heart is not in the right place, your heart is always just feeling pain. So in such a situation, you must definitely seek professional assistance. That is one advice. I would advise you on another note as well, but you can always go for counseling, therapy, reach out to someone. But it's even better if you have close friends and family that you can talk to without any fear, without knowing that they won't judge you. Um, and I always like to say, from being a Muslim, turn toward God, turn toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're a Muslim, you don't need anyone else. During your prayer, during your supplications, you can always turn toward Him, and He will definitely take care of you as He has done for me. That guarantee I can give you. If the racist treatment is widespread in the organization, because we were looking at individual cases where one person or two people are showing racist tendencies and it is affecting you. But if it is widespread within the organization, you can start looking for alternate options to work immediately, because end of the day, it's a corporate gig, and they might make you feel as if you're an extremely useful person as long as you're doing good work. But how corporates work is that you're always replaceable. You're always someone, and if you decide to go, there's always another 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people trying to get that job. So in such a situation, you must understand the reality, and you must prioritize what is your priority. You must prioritize the most important things in your life. Is it your career? Is it your personal well-being? Is it how you treat and how you behave? Is it how you and your demeanor affects your family? So these things are important, be noted. As a result, because end of the day, trying to go and correct the company, trying to go and change the direction of the company, change the culture of the company, especially if you're a young professional, it might take a lot of hard work, and more than that, it might take a lot of patience. And today, I just don't see it as a worthwhile effort, personally, to take such a long time, because with the competition, with the corporate hierarchies, you only have a few top positions that are really influential, and to get to those positions, it can take a lot of time. So unless you see a different route that can be, depending on your particular case, you must look for another option and consider a transition. On a final note, you must also develop a reputation as being a fighter against racial oppression. And I always talk about the reputation that you build around yourself, especially in the corporate sector, because what happens is sometimes we don't think about it. Sometimes people don't tell you about it. At the early outset of your career, the way you behave, the way you deal with people, you usually make it a habit. You usually carry that as a habit to the medium term and the long term. Very difficult for you to change your early behavior at the latter part of your career. So if you have a certain behavioral pattern between 20 to 30, it's very likely that that is the foundation of your behavior when you're 40 to 50. So what you must always be conscious is that among the many aspects to your character, one character that I believe is very important is you must always carry yourself as a person who is not afraid to fight against oppression of any kind, but also particularly in this video, racist oppression. So do not be a racist, and be someone who has the courage to fight against racism. And ultimately, have no animosity, none, have no problem, no issues, no negative perceptions towards any person at all, except for the oppressor. Do not oppress, do not allow oppression. Always fight for your rights, fight for other people's rights. Be courageous, be fearless, try to be, and you need a selfless attitude for that. Because if you're a selfish person, if you're always looking at what you want to get out of it, then this is not something that you are able to do. If not, you can always try to. Actually, I think you should cultivate that behavior. We need that in the world. So these are the final points I have to offer you as part of facing racism in your company. I really hope that you'll be a force of good. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.